I haven't fought in a while, guys. I haven't fought in a while. Haven't sparred in a while. Haven't fought in a while. I've had pay-per-view events just waiting, and I had no time to use these pay-per-view events. I haven't thrown a punch. I mean, I've gone to some bars, local bars, and said, you know what? Maybe tonight's going to be the night that I go at it because Lakers can't get a W. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Lakers over the Miami Heat, 117 to 108, the final score. Thank you for being a part of the post-game show. We got a lot to get into this I almost said this morning tonight. Well, I'll be back in the morning. We got a lot to get into, so thank you for being here. Of course, we're going to be breaking down the game. We're going to spend some time, just kind of give everyone a quick idea of what we'll do in tonight's show. First half for this versus the second half. Just almost two completely different teams for the Lakers between the first half and the second half. So something to point out from that perspective. Also want to point out, let's get that right there. Also want to point out just some of the different players that contributed in tonight's game. So if you start looking at, obviously some of the key contributors for the Lakers, you had a number of guys that showed up tonight. That doesn't typically happen for the Lakers. I'll say this as well. It doesn't matter how they win tonight. When you're on a 3-game losing streak, you're in a position to potentially make it 4 games in a row, 4 losses in a row. I don't really care how the hell you win. Just get a W and start moving on. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that. Specific players I do want to get into. Rui Hachimura I was listening to Spectrum right now, and maybe a little dramatic here, but they said probably one of his best games as a Laker. Whether it is or it isn't, I think the point that they're making, and I think the point that we'll make on the show tonight too, is they just need some kind of consistency from this man. So hopefully he can do it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of it. JJ Redick's going to talk in a little bit. We'll get a chance to hear from him. I'm sure there's going to be some other players that are part of the post-game show as well. So all that video that I end up getting you guys is going to be coming from Spectrum Sportsnet. If you can take 2 seconds closing in on 28,000 subscribers, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep this thing going. Okay, let's let me kind of give my thoughts here real quick, and we'll take it from there. I really like this, and I didn't want to look at the comments yet because I like kind of giving my thoughts first, but I think this is an interesting one. So why do you think this team is so up and down? It's interesting. It's going to get me into my first point too. Anyways, talking about the first half versus the second half. Let me just say this real quick about the Lakers. Why is this team so up and down? Usually, if you're this up and down, I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, it means you're kind of an average team, maybe a little bit above average, a little bit below average. And I think right now, I can't really tell you what this team is. And usually I should know what a squad is 30 games in, 35 games in. I should have a good idea. We're closing in, by the way. Halfway point of the season is not that far away. I know Lakers got those 2 games that were postponed. I think they already rescheduled one of them. It's going to be back on right after the All-Star break. I'm not sure where they're going to move the other one, but take a look at the schedule because it did change from what the Lakers had. Tonight's game was just a phenomenal example of how up and down they are. And in order for them to have success, you can use tonight as the blueprint. Tonight is a perfect example of what the blueprint is, how the Lakers will be successful or how the Lakers will either be in the play-in tournament or out in the first round. Because that's how kind of drastic this team is on a night-in, night-out basis. With the win, 21-17, I want to say, with the win. Let me tell you why they're I think they're up and down for a couple of different reasons, but I'll talk about this game specifically, and then we're going to go back to that. The first half versus the second half is a great example of who this team is so far. Are we going to see the team that in the first half was down 12, couldn't get a stop if their life depended on it, didn't know how to attack the zone against the Miami Heat, allowed guys like Tyler Herro to go up? Now, I'm going to give Tyler Herro credit. The dude was hitting tough shots. He had 34 points tonight. Tyler Herro's a baller, by the way. I mean, I know Tyler Herro's a good player, and I know I'm not watching a lot of Heat games, but I see a lot of activity on a lot of these NBA sites that I'm on. It's like, damn, look at Tyler Herro. Damn, Tyler Herro's got 9, 10, 30-point-plus games this year. You hear a lot of stuff going on with Jimmy Butler, and that's kind of taken away what Tyler Herro's doing. That dude's a baller. And they've completely given him the green light to go do his thing. But that first half, you're watching so many different players contribute for Miami. The ball is moving. They're getting layups. They're getting threes. They're kind of doing whatever the hell they want. Lakers offensively stagnant, not really sure what their game plan is. I mean, granted, in the first quarter, they dropped 34, but they dropped 20 in the second quarter. So such a drastic difference. That first half, to me, is an indication. If you want to see the Lakers lose games, all you have to literally do is just watch them on the defensive side. If they can't get stops, they're going to lose that game. They couldn't get stops in the first half. They're down 12. They don't look like there's any flow. They don't look like anything's really going to change. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Is this going to be the 4th loss in a row? I started looking at it. I think Miami went up 14, 16 points, whatever it was. But they were up big. I started looking at it. I'm like, if they lose this game again, that whole stretch in January where you thought this is going to be their opportunity to kind of gain some ground, put themselves in a position where they can try to move up in the standings or try to move up in the Western Conference. This is all going out the window. And that's kind of where my head was, because a game like Miami, it's not like Miami's trash, but you're supposed to beat Miami at home without Jimmy Butler. You don't really have an excuse. If you're losing to Miami at home, who's basically 1, 2, 3 games above 500, something along those lines. If you're losing to Miami at home, well, what happens when you're actually playing some real competition or some of these teams in the Western Conference? What happens when you go on the road? So when I'm watching the first half, those are kind of the things that are going through my mind. It's like, wow, this could probably get kind of ugly here. I know they got some other games that are supposed to be layups. By the way, next game for the Lakers is Brooklyn. Clippers are up 100-49, 101-49 against Brooklyn. I just saw that right now in the scores in the upper left-hand corner as I'm looking at some of the stats for the Lakers. I'm like, does that say what I think it says? 101-49? The hell? 102-49, whoever's counting. They're up 53 points on Brooklyn. That's the next game coming up for the Lakers. So that's the first half for the Lakers that I'm watching. I'm like, what happened to that squad that was getting stops? What happened to that squad where defense was becoming the foundation of this team? What happened to that squad where I went out of my way to, point out how great Dorian Finney-Smith's going to be on the team, didn't play tonight, how great he's going to be because now you're adding another defensive presence? I'm like, yeah, I think that's gone. I think whatever that thought process was, maybe this just is the Lakers. And then the second half starts. So just a wildly different first half from the second half. By the way, that happened to the Lakers against San Antonio, but it happened the other way. Remember, last game they played against the Spurs, they're outscored 73-40 in the second half. This second half, right out the gate, Lakers make it a game. By the time we get to the fourth quarter, I believe it was a 2-point game. Lakers, I know, outscored them by 10. They gave up 19 points in the third quarter, 23 points in the fourth quarter. All of a sudden, those easy buckets that Miami was getting, that beautiful ball movement that they had in the first half was completely gone. And that's not even a Miami problem. That's just what the Lakers were doing, and give them credit for doing it. That's what the Lakers were doing on the defensive side. So I'm going to point out here, and I know they were pointing it out if you guys were listening to the game on Spectrum, 20 turnovers for Miami. Lakers just all of a sudden became a team that can get stops. Even if Miami was getting buckets in the second half, it was really, really difficult for them to score. And then what does that do for the Lakers? It fuels their offense. I don't want to sit here and sound like a head coach or, like this boring speech of your defense creates offense, but that's how the game works. That's how the game works. Once you start putting yourself in a position where you can get stops and you could rely on the defensive side, now all of a sudden just the game becomes so much easier for you. Now, I don't know how much pressure was on Rui tonight, but go look at that starting lineup. When's the last time you've seen this from the Lakers? Tell me the last time you guys seen this from the Lakers. Look at this balance from the starting lineup. Rui had 23. AD had 22. LeBron had 22. Austin Reaves had 14 points and 14 assists tonight. We'll get into Austin Reaves because I know he's been a topic of conversation for the last couple of weeks or so. Max Christie gave you 16. For the love of God, Gabe Vincent off the bench gave you 14 points. There was this just, I think, beauty in the second half where they depended on their defense. The defense was going to lead to offense. A lot of turnovers that the Lakers created ended up getting them buckets. So overall for the Lakers, it's such a weird way to watch a team be so different from the first 24 minutes to the second 24 minutes. Unfortunately, like I said, that happened against San Antonio, but it happened the other way. They were good in the first half, up 9 or 10 or whatever it was. And then next thing you know, second half starts and Lakers get outscored 73-40. But for tonight, and I do mean this when I say it, I don't really care. How do I put this? Most nights you watch a game and you're paying attention to, well, how did the team win or lose? Most nights you're looking at maybe individual players, or you're looking, okay, how were they from the 3-point line, team defense, offensive rebounds, turnovers? You look at it like that. Tonight coming into this game, I'm like, they just need a W. And I didn't really care how they got it, even though I think the storyline's a little interesting because of how well they played in the second half, how great they were in the second half, and that balanced scoring that they had. But overall, the things that stick out to me the most, just get the win. When you're on a 3-game losing streak and you're just kind of trying to figure out how the hell do we get back on track, just get the W. And the Lakers were able to do that tonight. All right, let's get into some of the individual players. All right, individual players. If JJ talks, I'm probably going to go to JJ. Then we'll start looking at some of the comments, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let me point out here again on, see what I had here. Individual players. Well, we'll start here with Rui. Rui Hachimura, 9 of 15 from the field, 23 points, 8 rebounds. Just a really, really good night for Rui. It's nights like this for Rui Hachimura that make you take a step back when he comes and he has 8 points and 3 rebounds, that you scratch your head and say, why can't Rui just be a little bit more of a consistent player? Rui's getting to the basket. He was slashing, hit a couple open threes. I think it was 2 of 5 from the 3-point line. Had a couple of plays where I love where Stu Lance would say, that's how you go to the basket. Incredibly aggressive, not trying to get too cute, not trying to draw a foul. No, I'm coming to the rim with purpose. I have a reason why I'm coming to the rim. Rui was fantastic tonight. I'm going to give Rui all the credit in the world for the 23 and the 8 rebounds and the 9 of 15 from the field. Beautiful basketball from Rui. My question with Rui is, isn't he too talented of a player not to be able to do something like this rather than once a month? Or he'll have a performance like this and then he'll follow it up with 8 points and 3 rebounds, or 6 points and 1 rebound. That's the thing that's puzzling for me with Rui. No question about it, it is. All right, we'll come back to Rui. We'll come back to some of the individual players. Let me share my screen here real quick. Let's get JJ Redick. Let's take a listen to what JJ's talking about.
To talk more and play harder. And I thought we did that. There were stretches, don't get me wrong, there were stretches in the first half where we played hard and they made shots and all that. But, we talk about this all the time. The NBA is it's very different than it was 5 years ago. It's much different than it was 10 years ago. The requirement to win a basketball game is enormous against anybody in this league. And it starts with playing hard and being connected and talking. And I thought we did a great job. It's small stuff. Jackson played 14 minutes, his best he's played since he got back from injury. And he was great with his talk. LeBron, AD, AR, those guys led tonight. All 3 of them were very vocal. We showed a really high level of resolve that we've had at times. We can point to games where we get down and teams are making shots. And I thought we created really good looks from the zone when they went to the zone in the second quarter. They didn't go down. We trusted the process and we made shots in the second half, but it was really our defense that allowed us to get back into the game and ultimately win.
Jovic had that 3 in the corner, and then out of a timeout, I think LeBron scored 7 straight, had a couple of passes to Rui backdoor. What did you see from him in that fourth quarter?
Yeah, just his comfort level closing a basketball game is obviously very high. And, they ended up going man finally. After that first bucket against the zone, they finally got out of the zone and they went man, and we got to his spots. One out of pick and roll, one out of that left post. But again, he scored and it was great, but we got stops and we were able to take that from 108, 106, all the way up to whatever it ended up being, 9. So the defense was everything tonight.
The loss
I'll
you guys
get one
had
more
in Miami in December.
That's right. They
Herro
lost
went
by
for 30
41.
plus, and
I didn't bring it up, Dave.
he got super hot in the third quarter of that game, and then it extended to the start of this game. Just him as a player. Can you speak on the challenge that he presents, and then what was lacking, and how were you able to turn that nozzle off in the second half?
Yeah. First of all, saw a recent press conference from Spo where he described him as a player, and he made a reference. He reminds me of a certain other player. I'm just saying, and we all, we recognize he was talking about Steph. And I told our team, and Bo told our team in the scout at the pregame meeting, you got to treat this guy like Steph Curry. That's how he's playing right now. Yeah, he's playing at such a high level, and the threes and the volume and the efficiency has just completely changed him as a player, and he's become just a real offensive weapon. And that first half, he hit 2 threes in transition. So, we didn't do a great job on one of them of getting matched up, and he's got 4-point line range and bangs one there. He made some shots in the second half. There was a step back 3 from the left slot.
Tough shots.
Off a baseline out of bounds. He curled around and hit tough too. Like, he made contested shots in the second half. But, I think our physicality, there was a few plays where off ball, we just got into him and denied him on a top block. And, just not having him then involved in the play helps our defense.
All right, we'll stop it right there. Kind of keep going here. Okay, so first off, let me just say this on the Tyler Herro front. That dude's a baller. Tyler Herro is that dude's a baller. He really is, and that's kind of an interesting. That's interesting. Eric Spoelstra, saying what he said about kind of a comp to Steph Curry. This is what makes Tyler Herro so dangerous. It's kind of the first time that they're allowing him, hey, this is your squad. You go to work. You make the decisions. If you have it go, you always have the green light. If you want to pull up from 18 or go straight to the basket, do it. You want to pull up from 27, go ahead and do that as well. So it's kind of one of the first times where I think we're seeing Tyler Herro where they're basically saying, here are the keys. No, it's not enough to give you the keys, and the Heat are going to go compete for a championship. But Jimmy Butler's not around. He got suspended for 7 games. Guys like Bam Adebayo and some of these other players in today's NBA definitely have value. But Tyler Herro's, that dude can play, and it's so natural for him, right? Getting up and down the floor, everything is so instinctive. He doesn't have to think at all. And they've basically told him, you could tell, like, hey, go do whatever you want, and whatever happens from here, happens from here. So on that front. But you did hear J.J. Redick say this, that the defense that the Lakers played tonight, that is a difference. That's it. I mean, I just simplify it for you guys. The second half, if you get stops, if you're holding teams to 19 and 29 in the third and fourth quarter, you're going to win that game. You're going to win that game. And the Lakers were able to do that. A couple key stats here that I saw as well. I'm going to go back to the individual players. We'll get into Rui. A couple people calling me out on the chat. I'll go ahead and highlight those comments. Some of my favorite ones to highlight. Okay, a couple things here. How about the Lakers? 23-7 points off turnovers. Miami had 20 turnovers. You're not winning many games in the NBA, 20 turnovers. Only 7 for the Lakers. How about that? How clean of a game is that? Only 7 turnovers for the Lakers. I think that's phenomenal. And then points in the paint, 60-36. So Lakers just demolished them. Points in the paint. A quick update here on the Brooklyn Clippers score. 116-55. All right. You guys got to figure this out here. Are they up 61? I can't do the math right now. I can't do the math. I'm trying to do a live show here. 116 to 55. It has nothing to do, by the way, with a live show. It has more to do with my math. What the hell is going on? 61. Oh my gosh. I didn't know you could be down by that much. All right, we'll keep going here. I want to go back real quick to Rui Hachimura. And then I'm gonna look at some of your guys' comments here. Yeah, they should just stop that game. Why are they playing that game? Isn't there a mercy rule? I think we got to get a mercy rule. Same way they get mercy rules in like 4th grade. You know, you can't be up by 4 touchdowns or whatever the case is. You can't be up by 10 runs. Get a little mercy rule here for Brooklyn. Give them a little mercy rule. All right, let me go back to Rui here real quick. Okay, I'm gonna highlight one of these comments that were here a little bit earlier. I got a couple here that I got starred as well. I got some supers here that I'm going to get into. Let's go to this one. So now you're blaming Rui for not being consistent. First, it was D'Lo wasn't consistent. Newsflash, you can't be consistent when a 40-year-old is trying to do everything, dominating the ball. Okay. All right, let's play with this one. Let's go with this one right here. Let's take every single player that he mentions here, and then everybody can kind of chime in on this one. Let's do first Rui Hachimura. If anyone wants to on this chat tonight wants to defend Rui Hachimura's play this year and say that it's because it's LeBron's fault, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Rui Hachimura hasn't been a consistent player since he's been a Laker. And really, and if you think that's just on LeBron James, I think it's I want to find a way to bitch and complain about LeBron. You could bitch and complain about LeBron. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I think a lot of people, will find things about LeBron, or they'll say, oh my gosh, he's 40 years old now. He's not doing this. Where is he on the defensive side? Why is LeBron taking bad shots? Why is he dribbling the shot clock down? There are plenty of things to complain about. However, if you're complaining about LeBron because of Rui Hachimura, or if you're complaining about, if you think the reason why Rui isn't a consistent player, it's because LeBron, I don't know what to do for you. All right, let's go to D'Lo. So last year when D'Lo was producing, and he was shooting over 40% from the three-point line, and he did break a Lakers record for most threes hit in franchise history, and LeBron was on that team, then what's the excuse when D'Lo was actually producing? Because this year he wasn't producing. His numbers had gone down to 12 points. He couldn't hit a three on a consistent basis if his life depended on it. They needed more from D'Lo, and he wasn't there. So that's also LeBron's fault. Again, I got no problem complaining about LeBron. Maybe I don't complain about LeBron enough, but can we not pretend that the problem with Rui Hachimura, or what one of the problems was with D'Angelo Russell, that it's all on LeBron James? So those players have nothing to do with it. So Rui has no responsibility for it. I got a difficult time justifying that one. This is probably what most Laker fans are thinking right now. Rui scored 25, so I'm expecting 6 the next game. So if he has 6 the next game, is that on LeBron too? Like I got a difficult time. There are plenty of times to complain about LeBron, but to complain that Rui's not consistent is because of LeBron, you're going to give me a migraine. You're going to give me a migraine. I don't really know how to work with that. All right, let me look at some of these other comments before I get into other comments that have nothing to do with it, but let's keep going down here. We need Rui. That is until February 6th. Let's keep going here. If Rui likes playing in LA, he better start making games like tonight more the norm, because if not, he's the next trade. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If Rui Hachimura is the next one out because the Lakers found another player that they think is going to help them for a playoff push, okay, then it's the price of doing business. And I don't think there's going to be a ton of Laker fans that will lose sleep over it. It's nothing personal against Rui. Rui just let me put it this way. If the Lakers lost Max Christie, I think a lot of Laker fans would genuinely be like, Why'd you get rid of Max Christie? Why? Guy's a nice player. Looks like he's growing into his own role. He's aggressive on the defensive side. You need a player like that with the West and the guards that they have. I don't think they would have the same emotion towards Rui. All right, let's see another one here. Rui looks great in one game, then the next game he looks like total trash. Be so inconsistent like D'Lo. Listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you guys disagree with something I have to say, perfect, great. Let's have a conversation about it. Like that one comment that was on there that's saying that how can these guys be consistent when LeBron is on the team when he has the ball in his hands? I don't have excuses for some of these other professionals because if you think it's just that, I think there's much bigger problems than that. All right, let's take a look at some of these other comments here. Comments are coming in. Oh, they're coming in. Why'd they waive Quincy? All right, I got so much on this game that I still got to get into, but just real quick on that, I think they literally just wanted another big. That one threw me off. That one I didn't really understand, but it's not like the Lakers are using him. He was a two-way player, having a tremendous season in the G League. It's a good question, but I think it's more of just kind of bulking up with big men is what the Lakers are trying to do. Let me get to a couple more here, and then I want to talk about Austin Reaves as well, because I see a lot of people going at Austin Reaves as well. By the way, that might be the new norm. Maybe a lot of people just go at Reaves now. Northborough AES, Twin Towers, yes. Braun played most of the fourth, yes. Look, Heat had no point guard, and Bam played sick, but a win is a win. Good night, guys, from the Bronx, New York City. Northborough, thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for the super, and I appreciate you joining the chat as well. I really don't care how they lost. The only thing I'm thinking of here is when you're saying Twin Towers. The Lakers did something they don't typically do. They had LeBron in there. They had AD in there. They had Jackson Hayes in there. They kind of just tried something different against Miami. So if that's what you mean by some of the Twin Towers, they certainly had a lot of size there. Finally back in the win column. Let's build on this, take advantage of all our home games. Schedule-wise, they got a lot of games here coming up. Like, for one example, the Brooklyn Nets. I'm curious. Now this game. 121-62. So they've cut it down to 59. So Brooklyn has cut it down to 59. Oh my gosh. At the end of the first quarter, the game was tied at 21. So within 2.5 quarters, the Clippers have built a 59-point lead. Oh my Lord. Oh, big three by the Nets. Big three. All right, let me see here. Let me. I don't even know who's playing, who's not playing. Is D'Lo in this game? He's not. All right, he's not playing. So I was going to at least see, since Lakers got D'Lo coming up next. All right, Nick T. They show effort, and Reaves took less than 10 shots. We're going to get to Reaves. This is perfect. Reaves took less than 10 shots. We don't need Reaves' erratic offense like that. Reaves played his position tonight, a role player. Okay, real quick on Nick. And I appreciate the super here. Austin Reaves is a role player. Like that's what Austin Reaves should be in the NBA. But the Lakers are asking him to be more than just a role player. Let me give you an example. Gabe Vincent is a role player. Does Gabe Vincent have the same value as Austin Reaves? Clearly he doesn't. Rui Hachimura is in the starting lineup, plays 30 minutes a night. Does he have the same value as Austin Reaves? He doesn't. Austin Reaves is Lakers depend on him more. They're asking him to do more. There's sometimes he wants, they're asking him to be more of a facilitator, a ball handler, and on top of that, go get some buckets. What made tonight's game so interesting about Austin Reaves for me, and I think Nick, I think you're making a good point in regards to Reaves' game tonight. He didn't lead the Lakers in field goal attempts, or he didn't have more shot attempts than Anthony Davis or LeBron. What made Austin Reaves phenomenal tonight, by the way, highest plus minus of anybody on the floor, him and LeBron. What made him so phenomenal tonight is he only took 9 shots. You can impact the Lakers offense if you're Austin Reaves not by taking 20 shots, but you can impact by being kind of a hybrid player. Yes, I can get the ball to the basket. Yes, I could take a couple of threes. Yes, I can get to the free throw line, but I can also dish to some of these other players. And maybe tonight you just had a lot of guys that were hitting buckets. But I don't think if you're going to complain about Austin Reaves tonight, not tonight, please. If there's other nights that you want to complain about him, fine. But he had 1 turnover, highest plus minus on this Lakers team, only took 9 shots, scored 14 points, so he got you into double figures. The whole starting lineup did, and had 14 dimes tonight. What more do you want from Austin Reaves tonight? Not every night. I'll be the first one to tell you. I agree. There are times Austin Reaves is getting cooked. I agree. Harrison Barnes, San Antonio Spurs last game, Tyler Herro tonight. If he had opportunities, he was going to go at Austin Reaves. I get all that. I understand that. But I think some of the frustration that some Laker fans have about Austin Reaves is some of their frustration is also predicated on you're not shooting efficiently, or you're forcing shots, or you're too busy trying to draw a foul and you're not getting the foul. And then, oh, by the way, on the other end, it's being highlighted even more because you're getting cooked on the defensive side. That's how I think most people, when they get frustrated with Austin Reaves or too many turnovers or whatever the case is, you got big guards that are starting to guard him now. Tonight, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Tonight was a really, really good game from Austin Reaves. 14 and 14 for Reaves, and he only took 9 shots. So I hope for all those that have been going after Austin Reaves for a while now, give the man his praise tonight. Give Rui his praise tonight. Give Gabe Vincent his praise tonight, because I don't know how many times. I mean, Reaves is more consistent, but I don't know when you're going to get another 14 from Gabe Vincent. I don't know when you're going to get another 23 from Rui Hachimura. So I'll give them their love and their praise tonight, but I'm also not going to hold my breath like that's going to happen on a consistent basis. But Austin Reaves tonight was phenomenal. And I'm going to say it again. He was phenomenal. Why was he phenomenal? Because he only took 9 shots and was still that productive. All right, let's see what we got here. Reaves didn't get, by the way, it's so funny to me. Every time I see people talking about Reaves, it's basically just him getting cooked. Reaves didn't get cooked that much tonight because he was on the bench in the second half because of foul trouble. Still very efficient. Like I said, it's one of those things where if you could at least have him still be effective, they do need somebody to distribute the ball right now because D'Lo isn't there, and he was obviously able to do that. All right, let's get a couple more here. Let me see. I don't mind this. Slee, they're called haters. They're not going to stop anytime soon. No. Look, on this chat and on this conversation, I like to have basketball conversations. And if somebody wants to disagree, I don't need to consider them a hater. They just disagree with me. That's all right. I mean, we don't got to see eye to eye on everything. You guys are watching the game from your lens. I'm watching the game from my lens. It's all good. We'll figure it out. The only thing I really pay close attention to is when we're having a debate or a conversation. Be respectful doing it. And if we disagree, great. Tell me what your point is. I'll tell you what my point is. Here's Bron.
I'm super grateful, but still just like thinking about all the families that had to go through, the things that we had to go through over the last.
I might have jumped into this late, so.
It seems like so much longer in a week, but yeah, a week.
LeBron, at some point, yeah, fortunately, if you guys are able to, you'll get back to your home. JJ told us pregame that his family may have arranged to be able to get out of their hotel and get into a home. And there'll be steps to move forward, but it's still going to exist. Like, this is something the city is going to be dealing with for weeks, months, if not years.
Yes, for sure.
How can you guys as a team do the best job to kind of bunker down and focus on basketball while also be an example for the community?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely our job to know that, yeah, we still have a job to do. We have to focus on our job, but also still being human beings and understanding that what real life is all about too. But I hope that by us going out on the floor and us playing the way we played tonight, not the way we played against San Antonio, but the way we played tonight, and hopefully in the next few months or whatever it is, years until the city is back up, that we as a Lakers franchise and the players that's going to be playing for the Lakers, give sense of hope and pride and excitement and things of that nature. Sports has always given people an opportunity to kind of just like temporarily forget about whatever they may have been going through, and us being such a big part of the LA community, along with a lot of other sports teams, but we know how important the Lakers is to the community. Hopefully we can provide that for a lot of families.
Kind of off that same note of joy and hope. There's this clip of the little girl that saw you tonight going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm just wondering what it means to you or what you think about the effect you have on kids. Like you're literally a formative part of their childhood.
Family friends sent me the clip at halftime. And thank goodness that I actually looked at my phone at halftime, or I wouldn't have even seen the reaction when I waved to her in the first half. I waved to her and then I got back to play. So to have that type of connection with someone where they can have that type of reaction, I think that's what it's all about, and I've always tried to be a role model and someone that kids can look up to me, men, women, whatever the case may be, and try to make them proud and want to, come see me play, or if they're not able to see me play, hopefully some of the things that I do off the floor continue to inspire them. But that was a super dope moment. I have a little girl myself back home, so I made sure that I went over and chopped it up with her after the game, gave her one of my I Promise bands, took a picture with her. I believe that was her sister as well. I'm not sure, but could be her sister, friend, whatever. Took a picture with them, and I think it'd be something that hopefully she will never forget. And I'm happy to be a part of her life now in that small little moment, but such a bigger moment. So, and hopefully she brags about it in school. I hope so. Yeah, she got the upper hand on all her classmates that might have said some bad things about her in the.
All right, that's Bron right there. Okay, so you guys saw that was actually one of the more viral moments that was going on. I'm not going to break that portion down. Let me say something real quick about LeBron. So I think somebody put it in here. I think he got evacuated as well. You heard them talk about JJ Redick. He's still in a hotel. They're trying to figure that thing out as well. I've been up in LA since Thursday. Came up here. My girl is in Pasadena. So anyways, long story short. So I've been up here for a few days. Man, I don't really know. I know a lot of people, they might listen on here and they're not necessarily from LA or live in LA. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys, but like the effects of what's going on in Los Angeles with these fires, it's impossible that it hasn't affected some of this Lakers team. Randomly in the middle of the season, you're off for a week. And you're not just off for a week chilling at home, but you also got real stuff that's going on. It's crazy. This kind of just part of the process. But in this condo complex that we're in, there's a home for rent, or not a home, a condo for rent. And today it's just person after person. There's no housing for all these people that either lost their home. I got a buddy of mine who has a home in Altadena, did not lose his home, but he still has to go rent a place for at least 12 months. So even if you didn't lose your home, you're in an area where you can't live in. So I just say that because, life's not normal in LA. And for a lot of these players who were either evacuated or whatever the case is, this is not, a normal thing. So I do sympathize, to an extent to, of course, them trying to figure out the basketball part. I sympathize a lot more towards those that are actually involved day to day and everything else, or lost their home or whatever their case is. But nonetheless, I know they were mentioning that on here. Yeah, it's not just business as usual for this team. It's not really business as usual for anybody who lives in LA. So something to keep in mind on that front. All right, let me look at some more of these comments here. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's let me get into a couple others. You guys can figure out if you guys got some comments here. Go ahead and throw them in. Oh, this was the one I was looking for. Bron hit some timely shots in the second half tonight. Yeah, listen, it's funny about LeBron. Let me, and we'll see how much longer we go on the postgame show tonight. Bron 9 of 15 tonight, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. It's interesting with Bron. because a lot of the comments I get, I do 2 shows, right? I do this post-game show. I'm doing my show in the morning as well. By the way, you could tune in tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'll be on doing the Sliwa show. And of course, a lot of this channel is Lakers basketball. It's interesting with Bron because I don't really feel like there's people that are in the middle with LeBron. Either they think he's the greatest of all time or, one of the greats to ever do it. And they really, truly value and respect what he brings to the NBA, how long he's been in the league, 40 years, blah, 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 40 years old. And then there's other people that, and a lot of Laker fans, I feel like are like this. Is this dude going to retire? You know what? No, he's hurting the franchise. You know what? The team is in the situation they're in because of LeBron James. I don't care which way that you are. My point is that he's so polarizing and every single thing he does is magnified. Now, I think that there's also this. I think there's an exhaustion of LeBron. He's been in the media for 22 years. Since he was in high school, he's been covered and then got into the NBA, and obviously his time in Cleveland, then his time in Miami, then his time in Cleveland, then his time in LA, right? This guy is still going. But there's no middle ground with LeBron. Either people love him or people are just ready to turn the page and are saying to themselves, cool. I'm probably, I think I find myself, I try to be more even keel about things, but there are times where I'm like, all right, is this chapter going to end? And then there's other times it's like, how is this man still doing what he's doing? So I probably fall a little bit more in the middle of it, but so many of the comments that I get when it's about LeBron and it's about, watching him on a night in, night out basis. There are a lot of times where Laker fans are saying, yeah, let's move on. When is this chapter going to end? And then there's other times where they're saying, how does this guy close out the game the way he did? Hey, if he doesn't hit this shot or get this assist or whatever the case is, they don't win this game. So there's a little bit of everything from LeBron. All right, let's look at some of these here. LeBron comment, 5 straight minutes. AD took 2 shots in the fourth, both BS baby jump hooks. LOL. It's funny. Anthony Davis, if you're every single night getting a chance to watch AD, sometimes I just don't even notice him anymore unless even when he dominates a game, I'll look at some other player and say, okay, well, yeah, Gabe Vincent had 14 or, Max Christie had 20-something. I think with Anthony Davis, you're just kind of you have your expectations what it is, and you're expecting him to do things all the time. All right, let me just give everyone a quick update here on the NBA standings. So Lakers with this win, damn, the West is shifting like crazy. How about this? How about Dallas after they beat the Lakers? They've lost 3 in a row now. Freaking LA. What a missed opportunity there. Lakers 21-17, so they're 5th place in the Western Conference now. I think after Clippers eventually finish off their game against Brooklyn, I don't know if these standings are updated, but Lakers and Clippers basically have the exact same record. So that's your 5 and 6 spot right now. A little bit of separation here. Dallas with 19 losses, Minnesota with 19 losses, Sacramento with 20, Golden State with 20. So you got a few teams that are kind of hanging out, hovering around where the Lakers are, but in a weird way, kind of a little bit of a cushion here because Dallas keeps losing. Minnesota lost tonight against Golden State, so that's where the Lakers are sitting. I mentioned next game for the Lakers, next few games for the Lakers. This was kind of the entire thought process in the month of January is you get this home cooking. So with that being said, you got Brooklyn coming up next. That game's on Friday. Obviously, I mentioned the at Clippers game. It's going to be on Sunday. Then you got Washington, Boston, and then you start going on the road. But at least 2 of your next 3 is Brooklyn and Washington, 2 of the worst teams in the league, 2 of the worst teams in the NBA. All right, let's see if we got a couple more comments here, and then we're going to call it a day. Let's see. I'd be amazed if they're not a play-in team again. Now, I get it. I mean, usually when you have a team that inconsistent, here's the good news with the Lakers. when everybody is there, and there will be a time where Dorian Finney is there, and there will be a time where Jared Vanderbilt's there, and that's coming because they keep talking about it. I think it only get better. I think it only kind of go up. So I'm looking forward to when that happens. Final score, Clippers game, 126-67. What a great game. What a great game. That's definitely a game that I try to stay for the entire thing. Definitely try to stay for the entire thing. All right, let me get one or two more comments in here, and then we're going to call it a day. Christian Wood, probably going to be out for a while. That's why we signed a big man. All right, Clippers beat the Nets by 59. Okay, got that one in there. Okay, let me kind of give you guys a couple quick notes here or heads up. I'm back on tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'll do a live show. I didn't do a live show this morning. I'll tell you guys why I didn't. If you guys didn't get a chance to go back and listen to it, I think you're really going to enjoy it. I did a pod with Marcellus Wiley. So we did just under an hour. I used to work with Marcellus at 710. Really never worked with him on air. Primarily, I worked with him because I was on the business side. He was doing his show, and we kind of crossed paths doing that stuff. But I definitely worked with him when I was on the business side when he was doing a show with Max Kellerman. So obviously Max and Marcellus, one of my favorite shows of all times when it comes to radio. I did an awesome podcast with him. Really enjoyed kind of what he's doing. He's in the independent space as well. He's somebody that I actually reached out to a number of different times just to kind of get his thoughts, opinion, what he was doing in the game and in the business. But if you're a fan of Marcellus Wiley, if you're a fan of his work, put up a podcast for about an hour this morning. I'm back on tomorrow morning doing my regular show. I will be on there, and we'll be making it happen. So thank you for being a part of the show. Closing in, 28,000 subscribers. Could I get a few more tonight? Let's try to wrap that thing up so we could start heading towards 30. Thank you all for being a part of the show, for hanging out. And I will get back with you guys tomorrow morning. Max and Marcellus, one of the GOAT LA sports shows. Should have been a national show. We actually talk a lot about that show, the Max and Marcellus show. And he even mentioned at some point he thinks those two are going to connect again. So we'll see what happens. All right, my people. Lakers over the Heat, 117-108. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I will see you tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody.